Hey everyone, I'm Mario Ray and welcome back to another Sims 3 speed build in our Cyber City. This time we are working on the Law Enforcement Office. So it is basically the police and the military. First off, if you joined me for the live stream, thank you. I also want to apologize because there were technical difficulties. If you joined us for the live stream, then you are sort of ahead of the game because we're further along than this. This video is kind of old. I hadn't edited it yet, so it hadn't been released yet. So when we started the live stream, this building was already done, so you kind of got a little bit of a sneak peek. If you want to check out the live stream, it is posted on the channel. So just, you know, this building is already done. I don't really talk about it much, but you'll like see it in the state that it will be at the end of this video when we start the live stream. But I did have technical difficulties and my microphone was not functioning for like 40 minutes, so I apologize for that. You know, if you want to check out the speed build or building in real time there, you can just turn on some of your own tunes until you get to about 40 minutes in, and then we start chatting and building. I mean, it's nothing like super intricate. You can probably listen to music all the way through if you don't want to hear us just chat about random stuff, but it was just chatting and building and it was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna probably do that more just because it you know, gives me something to focus on while I'm building, and it's really nice. Normally if I'm not chatting, I'm just listening to music anyway, so it's a calming thing for me. But for this particular speed build, we are doing our enforcement office or our law office. I did want to keep the two rabbit holes separate, despite there being a combination of them. I could also have just combined them with City Hall, but I wanted this lot to feel full. So I wanted to have a lot of buildings in the lot, but I wanted the buildings to be mainly rabbit holes because I didn't want to make this lot something else. I kind of wanted to be just a general lot with just a lot of rabbit holes. I didn't want it to be a specific designated lot, and I wanted to have space for specific designated lots, hence why we are doing a combination of a lot of rabbit holes in one go. I'm working on the wallpaper right now. I tried to keep the wallpaper for this one muted, I guess. I don't know. I kind of felt like I wanted the building to be quote-unquote boring. Like, there's nothing to see here, keep walking. Like, you know, that type of color. Like, there's lots of blues and, like, beiges and whites. And then the police box is what I'm calling it, like a little police box, which is what's on the side. I wanted it to look very distinct from what would probably be the encompassment of like the military section. So it has like the whites and the blue panels, light blue panels across the side, while the military building is like this dark blue and like the beiges and stuff. But it is sitting like on top of the military building. So in my mind, it's like a spin-off of them, hence why they go by enforcement office, because they enforce many things. Probably even like travel and terrestrial visits or whatever from off-world people who come through. So they police a lot of things, not just that. And then you have the general police, who are just like the city police, while the military probably handle like all types of things, interstellar, interdimensional, whatever is canonical in this world by the time I finish it. I don't know, but they handle all. The enforcement office would handle those type of cases. The police would handle general stuff. I'm playing around with a fence right now. I'm pretty sure this does not stay that way. I never really remember the way things end. I'm pretty sure that does not stay though, but I am very indecisive, so be prepared for me to place things and undo them lots of times, because that is the way that I function when I'm building. There is never a plan, always just winging it. For the windows and doors, I actually didn't copy them from the other building, but I'm pretty sure I used the same door, so I probably could have. Don't know why I didn't. Maybe I just forgot or something. But for the windows on this one, I didn't want to go too crazy because I wanted the building is kind of secretive. So there's like this really tall section that's like right there. The big blue like middle section is like really tall, and it's also supposed to be kind of like the entryway to the building. So I take these windows that are there and I kind of take them up the building, and it's like letting in a lot of light and stuff. But this part only leads into what would be like the entrance to the building, so it wouldn't be like, you wouldn't see anything. You're just seeing like the receptionist or whatever in there at this point, so it wouldn't be like you seeing stuff. And I did do a layout to the inside of this because I might detail the insides, and I did want to consider how the windows were placed for me to do the interior of especially something like the police or military, because I did not want to have huge windows showing what probably should be like a secret area or like a top secret or private area that they don't want people to see. Or if you have a jail cell, you don't want to have a huge gaping giant window that the prisoners can just like, hop out of if they want to. So I had to take all that into consideration for potentially putting decorations on the inside. So I did sort of do a layout to these buildings. Yeah, I'm changing the fence now. I told you that didn't stay. We kind of put this like greenish fence. Of course, we're sticking with our grunge. Things need to be grunge. And we have this like grungy green looking fence around the police station. It just needed something around there because it looked weird because it's not as big as the bottom section of the military building there. I didn't want to shrink it either. Like I wanted the police station to look like it was sitting on top of there, like on purpose. So we started doing some roof details here, just placing some of the like ventilation thingies. I put a lot of those on the roof just because it's something to put on the roof. Like the roofs they need love too. You can't just have nothing up there. It's weird, So that's where they put a lot of ventilation is on the roof. Because that's just, I don't know, it's just where they put it because I needed to put something on the roof. My brain did not want me to not put things there because I like clutter. If you guys know anything about me and have seen me decorate anything whatsoever, I love clutter. And when things are too empty, it bugs me. I don't know what it is. It's especially like in The Sims. That's why I have way too much custom content in my game that I don't even use. A lot of it comes from, I like clutter. And that's why I'm concerned about decorating these lots. But right now, you can see I'm playing around with windows, and I'm using the smaller windows. And that's because in the back of the police station here, the two little rooms back there, I was planning to be jail cells, and obviously you wouldn't have giant windows. We were just talking about that. Now I'm switching gears to working on signs. The wonderful, lovely signs. We all love the signs. I actually really do like the signs when I'm done with them. They're just frustrating to do because these letters, that you have so much space on a panel, and then you have to play around with heights, and sometimes, you gotta shift some stuff around. So it can get a little bit annoying to try to do these signs and fit a word that you're trying to do. So enforcement, I almost ran out of words here. You see, I almost ran out of space, and I had a floating E, but I almost ran out of space to put enforcement on this thing. So I was a little bit worried because I wanted to call this the enforcement office. I didn't want to call it military. I don't know, I just didn't want to call it military. It's weird. I called diner. I just didn't want to call this military. I just wanted to call it enforcement because I thought it made sense, I guess, because you'd also have the police attached, so they enforce multiple things. I was going to put the off-world language, i.e. Simlish language, right there, right on the side to also say enforcement office. I wasn't liking the way that was turning out. I don't know what it is about signs. Sometimes I enjoy the way they look, other times I'm frustrated by it, but I did not like the way that the enforcement letters were turning out in Simlish, so I just scrapped that entire idea. I start making plans to put something else somewhere because we are sticking with our trend of having the off-world or Simlish language and the English letters on the buildings at the same time. So I think, here I'm detailing out and planning what I'm going to do for that. So I'm preparing for another sign, and we're using our trick of the floating columns that will be deleted later to get ourselves some support to make some wall panels that we are going to decorate like a sign. I end up going with the like stripes, and I make them the like yellow and black, like caution. I think caution. I don't know if that's what we would call that, but I call those like the caution stripes when you have the yellow and black because, I'm thinking it draws attention. The enforcement office is like, look at this sign, read it, it draws attention to your eyes. You're supposed to look at it and be cautious about what you're doing when you're around the enforcement office. This sign back here, we just make another one because we need signs. Signs are important. If we don't have signs, your building will be fined. You need to have a minimum level of signage on your building, or you'll be fined for not advertising enough and making the city money. But we put the We put these wall panels or the light panels behind it because these letters don't glow. But I kind of hated the fact that the bottom part there didn't have enough, so I put it at the top. And now it felt empty. I'll put some stuff around the word office just because it feels blank. It feels empty. I don't like empty space. Don't like empty space. I end up using the Simlish language here, and instead of saying enforcement, it says law office, because I don't know if that makes sense actually now that I'm saying it out loud, because it almost makes me feel like it's like a law as in lawyer, but law as in law enforcement office is what I meant, but it says law office because I didn't like the way the word enforcement looked in Simlish. So that's literally the only reason why that doesn't say that, or why I didn't stick with what I was doing before. This red sign back here, we just put the word obey. I wanted a sign right there. I didn't know what else to do, so I'm like, you are supposed to obey. The police are like putting subliminal messaging in your brain that just says obey. You drive past the police station, you're supposed to obey. So these signs just say obey, and on the back it's in the English, and then the front it's in the Simlish. We're sticking with that trend. I did want to put advertisements or like signs all over the police station, but at the same time I was cautious about what it was, because it is like a law enforcement office, so I'm like, I kind of want them to be law-based. I accidentally colored the wallpaper there, but I didn't immediately fix it. I'm getting a little better at that. I was mentioning that last time. I'm trying to get better at not immediately wanting to change something when I make a mistake, because I do it a lot. We recolor our obey sign to be yellow because I thought the yellow popped well off the red, and then our enforcement sign for our enforcement office ends up being white. So we just spend some time recoloring all of these, and my does it take a while. It's really the creative style tool, I feel like, that can slow me down on some of these builds. Like I'm good, and then the creative style tool can slow me down. So I need to start finding a better space of like placing objects before I go into creative style, because this is like some of the slowest parts of the builds, is doing stuff like this. Like this is at it's actually not that fast. It's at 3.5 I think times the speed, because I've been trying to cut these off at about an hour, so that when I trim them down to do this voiceover recording, that it's not super long, and also not super fast. I'm trying to slow it down just a little bit, so maybe it's a little easier to see. But if you prefer for me to speed them up, just let me know. I'll crank up the speed so these can happen a bit faster. The videos will be shorter, but the speed will be a little faster. I just know it can be a little jarring because I shift the camera around a lot. I'm not very good at just keeping the camera in one spot. I like to look at things from a lot of different angles, so I'm swishing the camera everywhere, and I don't know if anybody else gets motion sick, but if I do that too much, it makes me sick. So, I mean, I didn't want to do that and then crank the speed up to like 7, and then you guys are like getting dizzy. So, but if you do want me to move it just a bit faster, then just let me know. I can crank up the speed some. But here's the decorations around the office word. I just put these red and blue like dot lights. I don't even know where these came from. I don't know if this is custom content or if it is something from the Sims store. Actually, I'm a little confused where they came from, but basically we just have the yellow and red and blue dots, and then I edit the yellow color on that sign a little bit. I think I lightened it a bit or darkened it. I don't remember. I think I darkened it because it was a little hard to see the red, so we darkened the yellow a bit. Then we placed some more windows. Again, being cautious about the size of the windows. I don't want easy windows to look into in the middle of the military office, so a lot of the windows are really short. We use our what's that? A fence. We use the fence there to give the illusion that these signs are being pinned to the wall with these like metal poles. So that's what the fences are there for. So the signs are supported. They're not floating. They are supported by these like metal poles that are hanging off the side. See, I think I'm surveying the inside right now of the layout, trying to remember what I intended each building to be, and if I wanted to put windows in a particular section. So there's the back and forth like I was mentioning before. I do typically try to do a layout before the windows for this very specific reason, because if I had an intention of making a room for a particular purpose and it doesn't make sense for that room to have big windows, then I need to know where that room is before I finish. So right now, that's what I was doing. I was sort of looking at the layout and trying to remember what I've done. I tackled the inside of the underneath of everything. I don't know if that sentence was grammatically correct, but basically the underside of this foundation, I wanted it to be black because you can see the underside in there when you're in the bottom floor of the enforcement office over there or in any of these buildings. I had to do the constrained floor elevation to fix the flooring just because when I put the floor, it made the ground weird, so I had to just constrain floor elevation and flatten everything back the way it's supposed to be so our tree is not floating in a weird section. I moved on from the enforcement office and over to the police station at this point. There's the lazy method again of dorage. We just take the dorage and we just put it as a copy, and we don't redo it because we're lazy. That's typically what I'm normally doing. I don't know why I started this off without doing that, because that's my go-to. At this point, we're working on the police sign because I did want these two buildings to be distinct to an extent. So we just put the word police right across the top. Luckily for me, it fit in terms of the horizontal space, but getting the vertical placement of these to be good, I struggled with again. It bothers me if they are not at the same height. It looks weird, so I had to fight these letters and just get them all at the same height so that I wasn't looking at a lopsided sign, because that was just gonna bug me. And then once we had the letters down, I think I recolored them to match for a more appropriate color that I liked. I actually looked at this word and thought it was spelled wrong for quite some time. You know when you like know how to spell a word, but then when you put it down like on paper, it looks wrong? That's what was happening with me in this sign for some reason. My brain was telling me that is not how you spell police. Am I spelling this right? It doesn't help that I'm a very bad speller, so if you tell me something's spelled wrong, I will probably believe you, because I'm just so bad at spelling, and even if it's words that I know how to spell, I feel like it looked wrong. It looked wrong. I'm like, is that how you spell police? I don't even know anymore. Why? I really should have worked on my spelling more when I was in elementary school, but that's a topic for another day. I needed to put, or I wanted to put, the Simlish version of the word police, so we just sort of put it on the side of the back of the military station. And I only did that because there is no entrance to the military station on this back panel here. You have to go into the enforcement office from the front sidewalk out there. Like, you can't get in there. So this is just sort of like just a sign that if I had an arrow, I would put it. That's just like an arrow pointing to, like, you know, this is the police station right there. You want police, then you're in the right spot back this way. You want enforcement, you need to go around the front. So the sign can't glow, so I ended up using some of the floating lights that we've used a couple times before. And then I dress up the police down the side. I was again looking at the layout right there, trying to remember what I was intending to do, because I think I was gonna put doors back here to get into the enforcement office back this way, but I was like, no, because I think the rooms I want back here don't need doors to the outside. So I didn't. I do kind of dress up the police sign back here. I kind of lighten up the wall on this side, and then I use the Into the Future like wall dividery thingies. I don't know what those are called, but they light up, and I make them blue and sort of use that to kind of divide the wallpapers there between the like military and then the extra advertisement or display for the police station. And I put them on the other side, and I just sort of use them as a clear divider between the two wallpaper signs. And then I think I darken the blue a little bit. Yeah, I darken the blue up some because I don't know, it looks, those words look shiny. I think it's because they're lights, but I just darken the blue up a little bit. And I think at this point, it's basically done. I copy the police sign from the back to the front, and I think that's pretty much the end of this speed build at that point. I looks like I placed a couple more windows here. Yeah, I do. Nothing super significant, just a few small windows at the back of the enforcement office that don't seem to be, you know, like causing too many issues. And then, yeah, I just copy the sign from the back of the police station so that the front also says police, because even though You don't enter this way. I kind of figure if you are walking on the main street, you should probably know that the police station is right there. Like, you know, that is police. So if you want the police, you need to be going up that way. So that's sort of the end of this speed build at this point. That's about it. Again, we are further along than this. I am going to be working on this some more till we get to the end, and we'll decide after we finish the exterior if we'll work on any interiors. But that is it for now. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, then please give it a like, or don't, that's up to you. But I do hope that you'll come back and join me for more Sims 3 speed builds in our cyber city. Thanks guys. Bye bye.